My name is Scott Miller. I am president of the Academy of Architecture for Health Foundation. In concert with the Academy of Architecture for Health, part of the AIA, I'm happy to present to you this PowerPoint presentation of the fellowships for health facility planning and design. My name is Scott Miller. I am president of the Academy of Architecture for Health Foundation. This audio recording and PowerPoint presentation is to give you background and insights on the fellowship program, as well as information regarding the application process. This presentation will cover 4 different aspects: who we are between the Academy of Architecture for Health and the Academy for Architecture for Health Foundation. One is known as the Academy, and the other is known as the Foundation. We are linked together in mission, but we are 2 separate 501c3 organizations and have different constituents and different missions in how we approach and work together for healthcare architectural design. As I mentioned, this is a joint effort between 2 organizations. We teamed up together approximately 3 years ago as we saw some disconnects happening between our different missions and different presentations of fellowships and grants, research grants in healthcare architecture. This joint effort has benefits for coordination, consistency, and communication between our organizations, as well as to the students, faculty, and researchers and architects across the nation. The Academy of Architecture for Health and Foundation has created a joint effort between the 2 different organizations to simplify and clarify the fellowship applications, period. This is to create a consistent coordination, consistency between the organizations, as well as, most importantly, communication between the 2 organizations. Our goals and mission parallel in several areas: to increase architecture students' awareness, to encourage research consistent with our missions, to attract young architects and students to this field, and perhaps most importantly, to advance the knowledge of the planning and design of healthcare environments. We have often heard that healthcare architectural research is a mile wide. That knowledge is very prevalent throughout the industry, but it's only a 1/4 inch deep. A lot of what we see is anecdotal and observational and not empirical and truly studied. The goal of these fellowships and research is to deepen that research so all in our community of designers, architects, and owners may benefit. Today we'll be talking about 5 different fellowships. The Burgund Fellowship, dealing with FGI interest areas. The Griffin McCann Zilm Fellowship, the GMZ Fellowship as we call it, talking about the planning and programming and practice of healthcare facilities. The George Mann Travel Prize for students studying healthcare architecture. The Arthur Tuttle Fellowship, similar to the GMZ, but dealing with health facility planning and design, as well as the Foundation's research grant, which provides research to enhance environments for health and healthcare. The J. Armand Burgund Fellowship is directly linked and tied to the mission and goals of the Facility Guidelines Institute. FGI is the code book in approximately 40 to 45 states across the nation. This research that will come out of the fellowship will be directly tied to the guidelines, as it's known in the industry. FGI is also included, as part of this application, a dozen or so research topics that they need to be studied. These research topics will be given a heavier weight than a research topic of your own choosing. The secondary goal of this research fellowship is to provide an opportunity for the applicant to become directly involved in the guidelines process. Each guidelines book takes approximately 4 years to refine and rewrite, and having the applicant part of that process will help them in their research topics and research goals. The final presentation will be at the AAHF PDC in the spring, and the awards range from $10,000 to $20,000. This fellowship has been graciously provided by the healthcare architecture leader, Joe Sprague. The Griffin McCann Zilm, or the GMZ Fellowship as we know it, is to encourage research into health facility planning and design. Also, it looks at different topics of general practice of healthcare architecture. Those of us in the healthcare architecture field see our branch, our facility type, as a unique and different field of architecture that deals with the users, patients, staff, public, the building, which is one of the most heavily regulated buildings in the facility types, as well as the operational models. The awards range from $2,000 to $9,000, and the final presentation will be at the fall conference, the Healthcare Design Conference. This fellowship is provided by a joint effort between 3 healthcare architecture leaders, Charles Griffin, Don McCann, and Frank Zilm. The Griffin McCann Zilm Graduate Fellowship in Health Facility Design and Planning has been funded by 3 leaders in the healthcare architectural field, Charles Griffin, Don McCann, and Frank Zilm, period. The goal is to encourage research into facility programming and planning and the practice of healthcare architecture. A formal presentation will be completed at the end of the research process at the fall conference, Healthcare Design. The George Mann Travel Prize has been endowed by Ron Skaggs, a healthcare architecture leader, and it is specifically to defray the travel expenses for a healthcare student, healthcare architecture student, during a healthcare study trip. The final presentation of the travel will be at the annual Summer Leadership Summit. The George Mann Travel Prize has been supported and established by Ron Skaggs, a healthcare architecture leader, and it is used to assist students in the travel expenses during a healthcare study trip. A final presentation will be done at the Summer Leadership Summit in Chicago. This is typically a 3 to 4 minute video presentation summarizing the travel trip and what was learned during the travel abroad. The Arthur Tuttle Fellowship parallels the GMZ Fellowship in looking for students and emerging professionals to study the needs and nature of healthcare facilities and advance the knowledge of planning and design for healthcare environments. Their final presentation will be at the spring conference, the AAHF PDC conference, and the awards range from $2,000 to $10,000. This fellowship is specifically funded through the Academy, whereas the other fellowships and the Travel Prize are funded through the Foundation. The Arthur N. Tuttle Fellowship in Health Facility Planning and Design is also similar to the Griffin, McCann, and Zilm Fellowship in looking for students and emerging professionals to study healthcare facility planning and design. Their final presentation will be at the AAHF PDC, or our spring conference, when the research is completed. The Foundation Research Grant is an academic level research grant. There are no topic areas prescribed during the application process. We are looking to see topics from the field as to what they believe is worthy and valuable to the industry. The research grants over the last 4 years have been approximately $30,000 apiece, and it follows our mission statement of sponsorship of critical education and research activities. The goal here is a deeper dive into healthcare architecture and how we can broaden the knowledge of how our buildings are designed and how they are used. For the 2019-20 cycle of fellowships and research grants, between the Academy and the Foundation, there will be approximately $73,000 worth of grants and fellowships released to the winning applicant. Over the past 7 years, between the Foundation and the Academy, we have released nearly $400,000 worth of funds for fellowships and grants to broaden our knowledge of our facilities, to deepen our understanding of how they're used, and most importantly, to try and create a healthier, safer environment for the patients, the staff, and the families who use our buildings. This next section walks you through the process of how to apply for both the fellowship and or grant. The information is available on both the Academy's and the Foundation's websites. The links are shown on this page, and the next several slides are screenshots of walking you through the locations of where the specific information is located on each website. This slide shows the fellowship process from when the applications are opened through the final presentations for both the Tuttle, GMZ, and the George Mann Fellowships. The process we found takes time. These are not hurried, these are not rushed, but they are thoughtfully moved forward to create quality level information and research that can be then conveyed back to our users for both the George Mann, the Tuttle, and the GMZ, as well as the Burgund Fellowship. From start of applications being open to the final presentation takes 1 to 2 years, depending on the level of research and the cycle of compilation of that research into a presentation format. The Foundation Research Grant has a different cycle, with the applications being due in October and the research being announced at the November Fall Conference, and the work really starting in December as the applicant award winner is released to start their process. The time frame for a grant schedule takes a little bit longer, but it follows the same process of applications being opened, they're being due, the jury and award process, and then the research begins, and then the presentation and publication will take place usually a year to year and a half after the research is completed. This section gives some thoughts on how to win the application process. Having sat on several juries for research, these 8 items have been consistent between the winners, whether it's the George Mann, the GMZ, or the Tuttle, or even the research grant. These are ideas that need to be woven into the application process. Starting with the strong theme or topic. Make sure that your topic has value and has depth to it. Make sure you demonstrate in your write-up your understanding of the theme and topic and how it is applicable to healthcare architecture. And why is it personal to you? Has it impacted you in somewhere in the past? And why are you passionate about this topic and you want to broaden our knowledge of this topic? Clearly define the goal of the research. Clearly define your travel agendas. Make sure where your research sites are multiple. Having different locations brings different viewpoints and different information of how that topic is applied between a facility in an urban area, suburban area, or rural area, or the difference between the Midwest or the East Coast. Every facility is different, and we're looking to see how that topic applies to all. Give an idea of your anticipated product. May not be the final product, but you certainly should have an idea of what the presentation will be like and how it will be presented. And then end up with describing why this research is significant. Tell us, create a story of why your product, your research, should be the winner of the application process. Thank you, and as president of the foundation, I wish you well in your application process and good luck in your endeavors. And on behalf of the Academy Board and on behalf of the Foundation Board, I welcome you to the healthcare field. Thank you and have a wonderful day.